What's up? I'm Ellie and welcome to the channel. Something I'll be doing on occasion on Patreon is post digital color palette cards, and as I will be posting digital color palette cards, and while developing these color palette cards I feel very inspired to draw one of the images on said palette cards, to draw the image but in my style. And I must admit I have never been really good at color matching, so I am not guaranteeing or even committing to matching the colors to the palette, though I know that is kind of the point. But I will be taking inspiration from the overall color theme and the monochrome way in which it is done, and applying that to my drawing with watercolor paint. Here's the palette card. Here's what I've got so far. That said, the palette is there for you to use, so by all means use it. Take inspiration from the imagery or the colors, match it if you can, if that's within your scope of skills. If you would like to download it, you can head over to Patreon. It is there, available for download, and have fun, enjoy it. Tag me in your posts, post it in the chat on Patreon so I can see the outcome. Starting out, I decided to take a note from the pros and just do a light wash over the entire drawing, since it's all going to be monochrome, and also it helps lock in the graphite. And that was really helpful because it prevented the graphite from smudging and smearing all over the place, and I didn't lose my lines, so I will definitely do more of this going forward. Though I will say before I continue, something that I have felt lately is that I've been rushing through my art a bit, just because I've been so focused on Patreon. But today I feel like taking my time on something, and so that is the goal with this painting. Though I will also say that is not always a good thing. One thing that I've enjoyed in the process of just kind of rushing through the art is that there's been no overthinking, no hyperfixation. I've just been able to let good enough be good enough and just get through the work, and that's been nice because I feel like that also drives growth. I think when you get stuck on something and you hyperfixate on it, it kind of stagnates. It's that perfectionism process. You get stuck on something, it creates stagnation, and you're not really progressing, you're not really growing. So that's something that I've liked about just kind of rushing through the art, to just get through a drawing without all that noise. So that's been nice. But let's see how it goes today. And now that the first layer has dried, I am just putting in some of those darker values. I do later on go in with the graphite pencil as well, because I wanted more depth in the painting, but was afraid that I might overdo it with the paint, and I don't have any white paints on hand at the moment to bring back the balance should I accidentally overdo it. Also, I've used sellotape to tape off the sides. I don't know how well that's going to work, but I'm out of all my other types of tape, so that's going to be an interesting experiment as well. Either gonna work really well or not at all. We'll see. And boom, there's all the blues laid down. Like I say, it's not an exact match to the colors on the color palette card, but a lot of inspiration is taken from it. From here onward, I go in with the graphite pencil. This is actually a tip I got from a brilliant artist on TikTok, and he said that using graphite with the watercolors is a great way for shading, as opposed to trying to get those values with the watercolors, and I must admit it worked really well. Sup, it's the next day, and the already broken makeshift tripod is now properly broken, so there won't be any overhead shots or anything in this video, so hopefully you'll still be able to see what I'm doing, but I will still do a nice reveal at the end so that if you can't really see the process, at the very least you'll be able to see the end result. Heads up before I continue, drastic transformation coming up. And boom, isn't she beautiful? I couldn't be happier with the outcome, and I almost want to say I have outdone myself with this one. And I don't think the camera does it justice. Though I will say too that it feels very unnatural and vain for me to say that, but artists are also their biggest critics, so I don't feel too bad to acknowledge when I think I've done something well. In the color palette card in the image, there are these big cracks across the ice. And I really wanted to incorporate that in the drawing as well. Though in the reference, those cracks have a lot of white in them. And I am pretty much out of all my white mediums aside from pastel, and I was worried that it wouldn't translate well. I was going to maybe do something wrong and it would ruin the entire drawing. In short, I was just afraid of ruining it. But I was determined to incorporate it subtly, so I decided to do it with thin graphite lines coming from each side of the two corners. And as subtle as it is, I must admit, I think it translated very well. The whole vibe is very dark, very gloomy, very desaturated, and I think those subtle cracks fit in perfectly. Next, let's see how well the sellotape did on this paper. This clip is sped up, but in real time I did this very cautiously, very slowly, so as to not lift up and accidentally tear those top layers of the paper, which is a common thing with some tapes. But the sellotape worked beautifully and I can find no reason not to use it in the future. Anyway, here is the final reveal. And can you believe it? I actually remembered to record the outro this time. And that's all for this video. Thank you for your time, thank you for watching, and if you liked it, come back next week for the next one.